Attention. Daze in effect. Effect in effect. In effect.
We are back for another episode of the Daze. Back again, Locc AT, and our special guest for the day, Floco Torres.
What up, what up, what up?
How you feeling, Floco?
I'm good, how y'all?
Another day in the Daze, man.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself out there for everybody that doesn't know what you got going on, all your moves, what you out here doing, really.
Oh, man. Floco Torres, FLOCO-TORES. I appreciate y'all having me. Yeah, hip-hop musician, you know. I'm just here to have a good talk today.
Okay.
You know?
What you repping out here? Akron, too?
Akron, 100%, yeah.
That's love.
Another Akron person. You know how we do.
Yeah.
But today, for the Daze, we are touching on almost leaving reality, dealing with that numbness, and basically battling vices in the days out here.
Yeah.
Locc, hit him with the quote, brother.
The quote of the day is coming from the Greek philosopher Epictetus. And it is as follows: if one oversteps the bounds of moderation, the greatest pleasures cease to please. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I feel like it's right on par with what we're talking about today when it comes to using vices and keeping them in moderation and not letting them really overtake your life. You know what I mean?
And by vices, we're not always meaning like negative things. It's kind of like the days, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that are kind of distorted, and like the alcohol, the drugs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sex.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be those things, and it can also be things like working out or sleeping or food or, you know, watching TV. It can be whatever thing that you like to do that helps get you to zone out and just sort of forget about the rest of the world, you know, makes you feel good, you know, makes you feel like everything's okay for that little bit of time, you know. And a lot of times, typically, it can be, you know, sex and drugs and all those things, but people find their vices all types of ways. And in any of these cases, even if there are some like considered positive, like working out or, you know, eating right and stuff like that, if you become obsessed with it and you lose moderation in that process, it can be a detriment to your life.
Yes. Throw it off, to say the least.
And I know that this is also something very commonly found in creative sectors, you know what I mean? People either being painters or artists, musicians. Even in the past, there's a lot of history where people have succumbed to their vices. You know, a lot of well-known names and musicians. But you know, everyone still finds a way to find that way find that peace in moderation and still get to the point where they get their goal done. As an artist, Floco, do you ever find yourself using vices and how do you use them, if you do, within your creative process?
I like that y'all brought up that vices aren't necessarily just alcohol,
The negative things.
drugs,
Right.
sex, like you know, hard drugs and things like that. As far as creativity, I don't actually use any vices when that is concerned, because back in the day, I guess I did, where you have drinks before the show, or you felt like you had to be drunk before the show, or things like that. But at this point these days, I don't. It works against me if I'm inebriated or if I'm high or anything like that. I just don't operate very well. So alcohol for me, specifically, because that's like my main vice, I guess. Right. Alcohol for me is afterwards. That's the reward to, oh, okay, I had a good day, I can have a beer now. You know, we had a good show, I can take a shot with you now, or whatever it is. As far as smoking is concerned, I'm an in the house dude. I'm not a pass the blunt at the party guy. Because I came up in a time where it wasn't cool to do that, where it was, you know what I'm saying? So it was just
Feels weird.
Yeah. It's just when everybody's like, "Oh, okay, we can have this out." I'm just like, we don't know who's here. We don't know all these folks and things like
Looking
that.
at the positive side, though, like, have you ever like heard a piece of music or like even eaten some food and it's almost inspired you to create a certain piece of art? Like, I know you have the single out called Missy. Like, is that inspired? Like certain stuff like that, you could hear Missy Elliott and you're like, oh
yeah, 100%.
Certain stuff, like the more positive vices, you know what I mean? Because you can almost OD off music and then you follow that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at what's going on with some of the younger music, some of the younger sounds, you know what I mean? That's why we have that certain culture nowadays with just gangster kind of, the new gangster hip hop, as well as just like drugs, depression, you know what I mean? All that plays a part. So
Yeah.
do you ever look at that side as well? Like,
Yeah. I think the thing too is I'm an extremist in a lot of forms.
Okay.
And I grew up in a household where a lot of these things were happening. So knowing that's where I come from, I try not to indulge too much in a lot of things. But I am that way of when I get into an artist, when I get into a movie, when I get into a character or something, I'm just like, I'm super old school of before we had streaming, where you would go to the record store, you find a record, and then you would try to find everybody you knew that knew about this and just overindulge. So if I find something I like, recently, like I just got into Mad Men.
Okay.
I never heard about it, and then I watched this thing on YouTube. They were talking about Don Draper, and I've just been the last 4 days I can't turn it off. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm embodying this character and embodying the show and stuff like that. So I do, when I wrote the Missy song, it was like that. Like I revisited her stuff, and it was, like I said in the record,
inspiring
like
almost.
For 3 days, I was just like playing the Super Duper Fly album and just everything.
And I think that's the beauty of the topic today. Vices can kind of almost get you to that point of inspiration, whether they be positive or negative. It's all about that moderation and kind of using it for your best interest, I guess.
Yeah, in this case, he said 3 days, not 3 months. So it's like, it's moderation,
But it was nonstop. I was like, I can't, because as an adult, I was like, I grew up listening to Missy, but I was like, I didn't realize everything that was going into it, and it was crazy. Yeah.
And speaking of Missy, like I said, you have that new track out. You just dropped that recently. We're gonna play that exclusively on the Daze podcast, mixcloud.com/Daze. Explain kind of a little bit more that what went into the song. Is it a single for the next project? What's going on with this
I've
song?
actually had that record for it's probably like 2 or 3 years, and it was really when I got into producing for myself. I was really nervous about that for a while, and that was one of the first records that I made. It was supposed to be on the last couple projects.
You produced the beat as well?
Yes, I did.
I like the production.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was supposed to be on the Nobody Cares News album and the Again project and things like that. But in my mind, that was always the opening track to the album, and it never fit on the last couple projects. So I was just holding it, and I was like, all right, well, let me put this out. And it just so happened I put it out before 3 weeks, and then she got the Vanguard Award. So
she had dropped her EP herself.
I put the record out 3 weeks before that, and it was like the day that it was coming out, they announced that she was getting the award and stuff like that. So the universe makes no mistakes,
to say the least, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're about to play that. Go check that out on the Daze podcast, Mixcloud. He's also got that streaming everywhere, right?
Yeah,
so go peep that. Floco Torres, Missy. Stay tuned, y'all. That's our discussion. Yo, it's AT.
It's Locc.
And we are here. Daze is here. Daze is in effect.
And we just want to make sure you guys know where to find all the Daze content, whether it be on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
And to stay up to date to all of our content, make sure you follow all the links in the description below.
Daze is in effect. We'll see you next time, people.
Until next time.
Yeah.